Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SuperShow podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us this week for another round of gaming news, bullshit, and whatever else we do along the way. Although this week, Chris, a little bit different. Yeah. We're riding as a duo. The dream team has been broken up, and we've lost the main man.
It's called cutting the fat, Jamie. So you know.
Wow, is that how you see it? We've just let him go. Bigger cut of the patron for us too, I guess.
Yeah, the thing is, Jonesy wanted too much. Give a guy an inch, take a mile.
Yeah,
we gave him enough rope, and he hung himself. So
yeah, exactly. Well,
what can you do?
It's only half the story as well. The other part was that we asked him what he was going to talk about this week if he came on, and he said chess. We said, well, look, we're old enough as it is. We don't want to look any older than we actually are.
Hold on, I might talk about chess.
Are you actually going to talk about chess? You scumbag!
Maybe.
What is going on? What is going on with the world? Why is chess cool again,
dude? Because the world is it's so upside down, topsy turvy, isn't it? It's such a. I was thinking about it the other day, and I literally walking through the streets and wearing my mask and everything.
Yeah.
Under my breath, I actually muttered to and there's no joke. I muttered to myself, "Fuck! I can't believe you've done this."
Wow. Just apropos nothing, just because it was in your head.
Yeah, to the universe, as it were.
I mean,
it's just so mental, dude. But the whole the year is fucking gone.
I was going to say that is a question that the universe has the right to have to answer. That's not an unfair question to ask of the world.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. I think I've had it up to here. It's enough now. All right. COVID, go suck a fat one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about games, Jamie.
Well, that is technically what we're here to do. I can't guarantee how much of the time we'll actually spend doing it. But that's what you've come here for, at least in part. Oh. And if you've come here, you've maybe come through our YouTube, in which case, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already.
You're saying "come" way too much, dude.
Come.
Yeah,
but Chris, ask me how I'm spelling "come."
No.
See, I was going to do the reverse of it. I was going to see COME because you've come to us for gaming news and whatever else we advertise ourselves on. But
Jesus Christ.
If you haven't come to us on YouTube, or maybe you just want the audio version of this podcast because you don't want to look at us anymore, and that's fair enough, please feel free to check us out on a podcasting platform of your choice. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on a load of other ones that I can never remember the names of, and we don't put it in our little document anymore, so I'm not going to even bother trying to remember. Hit the big three. Give us a like, rate 5 stars, whatever that platform lets you do. And of course, Chris, as we have now mentioned in the last recent couple of weeks, you may, of course, be listening to us over on Paisley Radio. That's at paisleyradio.com, Thursdays, 10 p.m. A great way to listen to the Super Show podcast. And hey, why not combine it with another way of listening to it? Why not do what we're now calling the Holy Trinity? Watch it on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify, then listen to it again on paisleyradio.com. There's no better way to
hit that like,
life.
Hit that subscribe, hit that follow, hit that it's fucking all those things. It is kind of mental that we are spreading ourselves out so thin. But
we are, but we aren't.
Helps.
It's this weird thing where we still just hit record once a week, but we just put it everywhere. We're like, it doesn't matter where you go or what you're doing, you can listen to this. Yeah. In theory. I don't know. There are probably still some places in some corners of the world where they have no idea that this podcast exists, and that sucks for them.
I do want to say, because our Paisley Radio show, it's got decent numbers, dude. Way more decent than our podcast or our YouTube. So I will say this: hey, Paisley Radio listeners, maybe check out some of our other stuff. Okay, just check it out, because not to take anything away from Paisley Radio, we love those dudes, big fans. But there is some content that we have on the YouTube channel that is not on the Paisley Radio channel, such as my Star Wars video, such as Jonesy's horror video, and hopefully before the year is out, Jamie, something from you, dude.
No guarantees. Ask me no questions. I'll tell you no lies.
Fair.
Chris, I've been dealing with something lately. I know this might sound like a strange concept to you, but there's this thing that some people have is called a job. And so recently I've been kind of in the throes of dealing with all right, got a job, but how do I make other content around it? We'll get there eventually.
Okay, so I will say thank you for rubbing that in because that makes me feel super good about my situation. top class. Top marks there.
Well,
I mean,
I've been reading the Podcasting for Dummies handbook, and it says make your co-hosts feel smaller and insignificant as soon as possible, and you get a good result out of it.
I didn't realize that was the front of the book. Damn it.
Fair fucking page one.
It is mad. I don't think I've had I haven't had a job in getting on 10 months now. So,
I mean, it's a brave new world. Like we're doing other things. We're exploring other avenues. We're podcasting. We're making content. We're doing our own thing.
Moving, shaking.
Yeah. And do you know who else is moving and shaking, Chris, in the spirit of keeping news fresh and ready at the top of the podcast?
Tell me.
Fortnite.
I can't wait. Fortnite?
Fortnite.
Yeah.
That's right. The world's most popular game, probably. Probably not, actually. What was once amongst the most popular games?
I don't know. I think you'd be surprised, right? I think it is still fucking up there.
I don't know.
You know what I'm gonna do quickly, all right? I'm gonna go to Twitch and I am going to see.
Jeez. It's like when Joe Rogan has Alex Jones on and they need live fact checking. Like, yeah, pull that up for me, Jamie. All right, Chris is going to check how Fortnite's actually doing on Twitch before we get into.
Dude, I mean, Fortnite is the second highest behind League of Legends on Twitch. So,
that's still pretty good going.
I think it's still up there, dude. You know what Fortnite has going for it?
What's that?
There will always be 12-year-olds.
This is true. It's kind of like that weird generational. No matter how old one 12-year-old gets, there'll always be another 12-year-old behind them. That sounds weird. How mental
would it be if coronavirus just made everyone sterile for a year, and then you'd just be one age gap that would just the missing year.
Have you been following your movie news and your movie industry news lately?
Kind of.
So that's what the spec script for Children of Men 2 is actually about. It's about Fortnite becoming the least popular game on planet Earth because the infertility problem means that there's no children being born, and all of a sudden, 13 years later, there's no 12-year-olds anymore.
Oh shit! Hold on. Let's flip it and reverse it, Jamie. What if there was a virus? Okay, now this is going to sound really bad, so I'm going to knock on the wood there. But
bracing myself.
What if there was a virus that got rid of all mothers? Would that then mean that playing games online will be the least toxic thing in the world? Because if there are no mothers, then 14-year-olds can't have anything to fuck.
Shit, yeah. Because the 14-year-olds aren't going to fuck your dad because they don't want to be gay.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic question. I think that's probably leave that for Children of Men 3, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like a problem for Clive Owen.
Hold on, Jamie. Yes? Hollywood? Yeah. Dude, I'm all over it. They're going to be banging on my door.
It's just that simple. And there we go. We solved it. We cracked the case. Do you know who's still trying to crack their case, Chris, though? Is Epic Games. Because although, as we've discussed, they are the fathers of what is clearly still one of the more popular games on planet Earth. And although they've probably made a shitload of money in the process, they're still looking for ways to squeeze more dollars out of people. Well, maybe squeeze is the wrong word. We'll get into exactly what we think they're doing and whether or not it's perhaps justified. But I'm talking about the recently announced Fortnite Crew, Christoph, which, for anyone that hasn't seen the news, is a new monthly subscription that costs either $12 a month if you're in the US, or it's, for reference, £10 a month over here in the UK. And that subscription gets you access to the Battle Pass relative to, I believe, whatever's new at the time. So at the moment, that's going to be Chapter 2, Season 5. It gets you 1,000 V-Bucks, Chris, which I believe you were telling me before we started recording have a value of £6.50, you said?
I think it's £6.50 or $8, somewhere around there.
Yes, there you go.
I think the Battle Pass itself is about £6 or £8 pounds or dollars. But the Season Pass only comes out like every 3 months or so, I believe.
Yeah. And so when you look at those two components on their own, it's kind of like this thing where it just about is a value match, I think, for buying them independently. Of course, the thing that they're throwing in to sweeten the deal and perhaps add an element of exclusivity into the whole Fortnite Crew scene are going to be skins, which, as I just hinted at, would be exclusive to Fortnite Crew members. And
4 of them, yeah?
Say again?
4 of them.
But that sounds right. This might be something you know more about than me, but...
Just making a foreskin joke, but never mind.
Oh, wow. I don't know.
The best thing is when you make like some kind of a filthy joke and then people just don't get it.
No, it's because
then you look like the weirdo, right? Like me, as in me making the joke. No,
this is the thing. I'm trying to pick up the slack and make it seem like I was the slow one, so you feel less weird for making a foreskin joke. Oh, right. I just kind of wish that I'd gone with it and gone like, yeah, foreskins.
That would be the dream. That's why you always try. It's like the D's nuts kind of thing, like, or the Joe Mama,
exactly. Well, it almost put it this way. I think if Jonesy was here, you might have got him.
Fucking hook, line, and sinker.
Exactly.
In fact, that's why he's not here today, because he knew that I was gonna, whip out the foreskin, and he just didn't want anything to do with it.
That, and also he's being circumcised. We wish him the best of luck with the procedure, and we hope he comes back
at this moment
fit and healthy.
Yeah, could we just have a moment of silence for Jonesy's foreskin?
Well, it's not going anywhere. He says he's going to keep it. He's going to keep it. He's got a little Ziploc bag. He's going to take it home with him, and
he's gonna turn it into a hat.
How stretchy do you think they are? He's just going to like
those like all-in-one kind of scarves that are just like a tube. Can you imagine a scarf made of foreskin?
Do you know what? I can't, and that's not because I'm not capable of it, but it's because I don't want to. Also, because what? No, we're not doing it. We're going back to Fortnite Crew.
Right,
I don't know how many skins there are going to be, Chris, but one thing we do know that's coming in this first iteration of Fortnite Crew, and one of the ways they've kind of revealed the whole thing is via a Star Wars crossover with The Mandalorian, which is a very popular show at the moment that you've watched and you're probably up to date with.
I fucking love it, dude. I actually can't believe how good it is this season. The budget that they've got on that show must be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm still impressed with all the every time I'm reminded that they're still not using green or blue screen technology. They're still using those sort of. How would you describe what they are using? I always forget the word for it.
They're like, it's like virtual sets, right? So it's just massive panels with. I don't think they're projection. I think they're just like massive LED arrays, and then it's basically like having giant screens or monitors around you.
So cool.
And then you project the background onto there, so it's actually in the camera. You don't need to do any compositing or anything. There's no green screen or blue screen or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I've got to be honest, as someone who doesn't pay too much attention to Star Wars, I've allowed myself to be spoiled here and there. So I've seen some of the things that might have happened the early stages of season 2. Got to say, pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's good. I think even if you're not a Star Wars fan, I think what's good about The Mandalorian is it kind of gets away. Although it's kind of bringing it a little bit more back in season 2, but it kind of, especially in season 1, kind of gets away from the kind of cringy aspects of Star Wars, if that makes any sense. Like I don't. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I can say like, yeah, it's cheesy, yeah, it's cringy. But this is more like a much more stripped back, refined Star Wars experience. And it doesn't have fucking Jedis and lightsabers, which is, to be fair, is a really cool aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it's the distillation of like what people actually enjoy about like the quirky characters and just like fucking cool shit happening and crazy creatures. And yeah, I would recommend that you watch it, Jamie, actually. I think it's very entertaining, and you don't need to be a Star Wars fan to watch it.
When you talk about it in terms like that, it sounds more interesting to me than most other Star Wars related sort of properties that have been recently. It's also interesting how many, not across the board, but there are some parallels between how you were describing Mandalorian and some of the things I heard you saying, Chris, in your recent Star Wars video that, as you mentioned earlier, is up now on the SuperShow YouTube channel. So go and check that out if you haven't already, and especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Well, you know what, we got to remind people that this thing is there. I think they're used to coming back every week for the podcast, whether it's on YouTube or a podcast platform or Paisley Radio now. You got to sometimes give them a little nudge to say, hey, there is some other content on the YouTube channel. It is worth checking out.
Sweeten the deal. Okay, but back to this Fortnite Crew subscription thing, right? So I think it's worth mentioning that Fortnite is still free. Okay? It's still a free-to-play game. No one's forcing you to buy this Fortnite Crew. I believe you can still buy the Battle Pass as its own separate element. You don't have to get it through the Fortnite Crew.
Right.
So really, it's just another monetization option.
Yes.
I'll be honest. When I first read this, I was like, "Oh, this doesn't sit well with me." But then actually thinking about it, and funnily enough, having a chat with you before we hit record on this, and kind of relating it to online games, like games as a service games that we play, it's actually, it's just another way for you to enjoy the game, I guess. So
in a roundabout way, yeah. And
I've come around.
And you've got to imagine that, again, between how much the Battle Pass costs on its own, how much those V-Bucks cost on their own, and the inherent value of these quote-unquote exclusive skins, that they wouldn't put something like this together unless there was some inherent value, unless you were saving some amount of money. And there probably are people who maybe buy V-Bucks semi-regularly, or maybe even on the regular, who look at this and say, actually, this is a way for me to consolidate all the microtransactions I usually purchase into one monthly fee that I'll forget to cancel, and then Fortnite becomes a service, and everyone's a billionaire again.
Yeah. I think the main draw for this is not necessarily the Battle Pass or the V-Bucks, because as we said, you can get those on your own. It's more the exclusive skins that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. I don't think they're going to be marketable or tradable, blah, 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 blah. I don't think a lot of people that watch our show care about Fortnite that much.
No.
But it's interesting to kind of like look at this as a monetization kind of model. So, because what I said to you is, how would you feel about Warzone having something like this?
And I guess my feeling on it would be, first of all, that it's a pretty inoffensive offering, and that, there's no harm in not taking it. But that also, I am someone who has been sucked down that monetization hole a couple of times with Warzone. Obviously, I buy the Battle Pass, and I'm that idiot who they give you currency during the Battle Pass that's usually enough to buy the next one, but I'll spend that currency on something else because they're usually pretty good at keeping the store up to date with stuff that looks cool. But also, like, I could see myself doing something like this, like exclusive skins and a little bit of extra currency, and also like £10 a month sounds like a kind of an okay amount for how much I play that game. The only thing sometimes with Warzone, and I bet you don't have this with Dota, which is why I want to throw the question back your way in a second, is that Warzone has yet to prove. I mean, it's going through its biggest challenge, in fact, as we speak, but it's yet to prove what it's going to look like in the long run. And will the day come where I lose all those skins, where those blueprints are no longer relevant to me, and so on and so forth? Like, at least with Dota, you've had so long now putting time and money and effort and blood and sweat and tears into the same game. So exclusive skins, you're like, I'm adding to my inventory of shit that I'm going to continue to have for God knows how long, right?
Well, yeah. So here's the issue that I've run into, and funnily enough, I was playing Dota last night, actually, with my friend Paul. So shout out Paul. And I was going through the skins that I'd accumulated over the years. I mean, I've been playing Dota for 8 years now. I think the game has been out for 10 in total. So I've been playing for 8 years, and you can imagine how many skins I've accumulated, not just from buying them through the compendium or the battle pass.
Would you say it's more than 4?
It's 44 actually.
44
skins.
44 skins. 44 skins.
44 skins.
44 skins.
22 cans. Remember that? Anyway.
Was that Peter Molyneux?
Yeah, Peter Molyneux. 22 cans. Shout out the Molyneux.
Big Board Pete.
And I was going through all these skins because I wanted to gift some skins to Paul.
Right.
And I was just like, I've got so much stuff here. It's like ridiculous. Because here's the thing. So in Dota, I think they've got like 118 characters or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have multiple sets of skins for every single character in the game, right? And obviously it's not like I'm going to go around and rotate those skins every now and then. It's like, no, just whatever looks the coolest, I'm just going to fucking go until there's a new one, and then I'll get that one. And it's almost like it's like having a bookshelf, right? And you read a book and you are never going to read that book ever again. So you just put it on the shelf. But eventually that shelf fucking takes up the whole wall. And it's like, what's the point of this? And I said to Paul yesterday, it's like, I wonder if I had to sell all of my Dota skins, how much I get for them. Probably not a lot, but could be something. But the one thing that sits with me the wrong way about the Fortnite Crew, even though I said it doesn't bother me that much, it's just the pricing of it. That price point, it's a lot, dude. Like, I don't know. It's almost like, let's say if you're interested in Season Pass and you're interested in exclusive skins, but you're not interested in the V-Bucks, then it's almost like the V-Bucks is a big chunk of what that cost is, at least like 50%.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing is, I'll throw this out as a caveat. I don't actually know what 1,000 V-Bucks gets you in terms of Fortnite's marketplace.
I have no fucking clue, dude. But let's put it this way, right? Apple Arcade on your phone.
Yes.
Cheaper than this, okay?
It is.
Think fucking Xbox Games Pass for PC, for Xbox, it's cheaper than this, unless you get like Ultimate. But even Ultimate's like this ballpark. Like, I don't really... I think they've priced it too high. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a bit wrong to say, like, Xbox has got all of these games where this is a games as a service with, a living, breathing, forever franchises, they like to call these fucking things. But... And if it's your favorite game, you want to sink money into it. That's fair. Yeah. Like, I like to sink money into Dota, even though it's a free-to-play game. But I think the price point here is just... It's just a bit too high. Like, Dota's got a monthly subscription called Dota Plus, and it's like, I don't know, a third of this price. But the issue that they have there is that Valve, and I mean Valve is Valve, but they released Dota Plus, and then they didn't update it for a year. Also had exclusive skins, but they didn't update it for an entire fucking year. And I had bought an annual pass just as like, I just bought it because I was like, this is going to be great. And the promise was never fulfilled. And the question is like, how, I mean, okay, Epic have been pretty good at kind of understanding the monetization of Fortnite. But it just kind of, I don't know. The pricing just seems wrong. Maybe like half that price and it would be okay, but
maybe
it seems high to me.
Yeah, you're not wrong, especially when you start to compare it to, as you said, other services, whether their services offering something similar or in some cases a lot more, technically speaking. It does seem a little bit steep. I guess it's just one of those weird things where, like you said, when something is so optional and is so designed to target, the people who probably play more Fortnite than anything else, maybe only Fortnite, and have what they see as more money to spend on it, then those people are going to get lured in. Like, they're probably people who you say to them, hey, you could spend less on Xbox Game Pass. And they say, yeah, but that's me spending less on hundreds of games I don't want to play instead of more on the one game I do play. And then there probably are still people in the millions out there who are exactly like that, as much as we don't see them or interface with them.
Don't forget, Jamie, Epic have to pay their legal bills somehow against fucking Apple.
Very true. Someone shared another Tim Sweeney related news story in our Discord this week, and that guy continues to say very strange and out of place things about Epic's crusade against Apple and so on.
Yeah, like they're such a small fucking David to Apple's Goliath. It's like, no, dude, you're this massive fucking gaming company. Come on.
Like for anyone to try and convince you this is anything else other than billionaires fighting billionaires over billions of dollars, like, it's so far away from us that we shouldn't even be giving it any daylight. But it is kind of a little bit embarrassing, I guess. On Tim Sweeney's part. Well, although, Chris, we sympathise a little bit because do you know who else has to pay bills around here?
Tell me.
Us.
Oh shit! You pay your bills? Come on, dude.
Do you know what?
I haven't been able to pay my bills in months.
Technically, I don't pay my bills. Technically, someone pays my bills and I pay them because they pay my. If that makes sense. Like, there's no bill out there. There's no bill out there with my name on it. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Life is complicated. I'm living, doing shit Nico Bellic style.
Yeah, living la vida loca. I get
exactly.
You. Yeah. How do we pay the bills, James?
Well, Chris, one thing that helps when we do get a bill through the door is the ever loving support of our wonderful patron over at patreon.com/SuperShow. We want to give a shout out to absolutely everyone over there who's helping us in any way, shape, or form, no matter what the size of the donation. Thank you all for easing the pain of COVID, of life, of unemployment, of spotty employment, of everything.
Can I just say, past, present, and future patrons? Because even if you've supported us in the past and you've stopped, you still hold a special place in our hearts. So thank you.
There's a reason we have, an OG section in our Discord?
Yeah.
It's because once you're a part of the Super Show family, you're in the family for good, okay? But still, having said that, there are some members of the family we should give some shout-outs to this week, Chris. How's that sound?
I think that is a good idea.
All right, let's hit it. We got AIM, Aaron Cameron, Athletic Gravy, Brett Z, Freddie K Official, Hacksaw Bookread, Jesper Cam, Dahl Nielsen, Leo Merger, Lonnie Thompson, Manuel Guerrero, Martin Skihan, Mindful Pig, Nathan Pierce, Scary Omen, Starfall Kid, and the two head honchos pulling all the strings, Peaswad and the Dude Abides. Thank you all so much.
Peaswad, Dude Abides.
You've both, Chris has nicknamed either one of his biceps after you, gents. I don't know how you feel about that. You're going to have to let us know in the Discord, which, by the way, anyone else is open to join from as little as $2 a month if you head to patreon.com/supershow.
Hell yeah.
What were you going to say, Chris?
I was going to say, if, I've only got 2 biceps and there's 2 names up there, what happens if we get a third name?
I think you start naming your testicles, right?
Maybe.
That's what I mean.
But they got names already, Jamie. How would you like it if someone said, no, you can't be Jamie anymore?
It's a hyphen. It's a hyphen job. Like I'd
like a double-barreled surname.
Like a double-barreled surname. So I guess that's what's up for grabs. I guess I'm not gonna. I would never.
Don't say my testicles are up for grabs.
I would never be so cheeky as to ask anyone sign up to the $50 tier on the Patreon, or B, presume I had the right to name Chris's testicles.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is that if you do, out of your own free will, in my mind, I will name one of Chris's testicles after you.
Okay, interesting.
In my mind. So it's not real. You don't have to tell your wife. She doesn't have to start changing from whatever she calls them now to whatever they're going to be called afterwards. Just for me, I'm going to double barrel that shit.
It's just Mr. Pee-Pee and the boys.
Oh, they're the boys.
Yes, Mr. Pee-Pee and the boys.
Ah, I see.
Hell yeah.
So Mr. Pee-Pee kind of runs the show. He tells them what to do. He bosses them around.
Yeah, but it's like P full stop P full stop. It's not like PEE because that's childish, Jamie.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. That's kind of like this podcast. You're Mr. Pee-Pee and Josie and I are the boys.
So you're my testicles.
We're just the two. We're just bouncing around beneath you. Just being called into action whenever you need us.
I think you've made me blush there. All right.
Sorry, Chris. And you know what? I shouldn't have ever brought up I won't bring up your testicles again, although they're nothing to be ashamed of. If anything, you should be proud of them. Not that I've seen them.
I'm proud of them.
There you go.
Good. Oh, they are gorgeous, Jamie. It's like that scene in Pulp Fiction where they open up the briefcase.
Oh, and they just glow.
Yeah. So like if you stumbling into bed at night and use your cell phone to like illuminate your path. I don't do that. I just drop my trousers and
there we go.
Kind of spotlights.
Gold member vibes.
No, like in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, where
he has that hallucination.
And her tits are like the headlights because there's a truck coming towards them.
Truck coming along.
That's quality. Anyway, Chris, why don't we do a little comment of the week to break this thing up, shall we?
Well, hold on. Before you get there, Jamie, I think you're forgetting something. Because not only can people get access to our Discord server, but they can get access to our Minecraft server, access to our Spotify playlist, and if they pledge just a little bit more, okay, then they get access to our behind-the-scenes videos, early access to some of our shorter form content whenever they may come out, and some Patreon exclusive podcasts, the next of which hopefully we'll be recording next week, where we will be doing a Q&A session.
Yeah.
So
we had a good amount of questions come through.
Oh, I can't wait to jump into those questions. They sound really fucking cool.
Yeah.
A good mix of serious and stupid.
It's what you want, really.
Well, that's me in a nutshell. Serious and stupid.
There you go. Again, just like your testicles. One serious, one stupid. I don't know. That's the last time I'm going to bring it back around to them. I apologize.
Yeah,
it's very private. It's very personal. Anyway, are we ready for a comment of the week now?
fucking hit me over the head with it.
Okay, good, because this one comes in from our old friend Ryan Pesh.
Hell yeah, Ryan Pesh.
He says, I hope this will be the comment of the week. Congratulations, Ryan. You've already made it. I mean, that's really how easy it is at this stage, isn't it, Chris?
He's cracked the fucking code. But you know what else?
That's what you have to do.
You know what else Ryan did?
What did he do?
He commented on YouTube and sent us a Patreon message.
Wow.
With the same thing. And I was like, hey, he's fucking double whammied it, and he cracked the code of like how to get it featured onto the comment of the week. So yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. The rest of his message is, I became a patron once again. I was off for quite a while because I couldn't afford it, but I'm back. So glad to be a part of the ship once again. You deserve my money with an exclamation mark. Wow. Ryan.
Well,
wow.
Yeah, we salute you, Ryan. We really love you. But you know what? Other than having this comment as the comment of the week, because he said, I hope this will be comment of the week, and sending it to us on 2 different platforms, I think it's worth saying that, like, you know what, your support, monetary support on Patreon is very much appreciated, but it's not essential. And I think it's important to know this. Like, we have to kind of push to our podcast, our Patreon, because the money does help us. I'm not going to lie. That's just the fact of the matter. But, you know, if you cannot afford it, that's fine. You know, it's tough times. It's fucking COVID times. It's 2020. A watch, a listen, a like, a subscribe, a comment, any of these things go hand in hand with the Patreon. So, you know, no one should feel pressured to join the Patreon. Join it if you want, and join it if you want to help us, but it's not an essential. And we will still be doing this this podcast, come what may. You know, like, may not be as glamorous as it is now, because it's fucking star-studded, Jamie. I don't know if you've noticed, but you know, the guests that we've had on, the access that we've had to the industry has been unprecedented. Yeah, and I just can't say that kind of level of quality will continue, but you know, you get what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're trying to say, and it's like we were saying earlier when we were going through our shout outs for the patron. Like, people, that this shit happens. You change tiers, you come and go. You might even forget about the podcast on the whole at some point, and then come back to it at a later date. Like, we watch YouTube shit as well. We follow creators as well, and I think we all know by now what that kind of relationship, for want of a better way of putting it, is like. But that's why it means so much that so many people have seen fit to help us keep doing what we're doing. And I can say for one, Chris, I literally paid rent with Patreon money this month. That's
nice. That's very nice. I will be paying bills with my Patreon money, which is fucking sad though, isn't it? Because
I mean, sorry, maybe
what I wanted to do with that Patreon money is buy myself a PS5. But A, I couldn't get my hands on it, and B, I just need the money to live. But there you go.
That's the other thing. That's life at the moment, is that I think we had really bright ideas for everything that Patreon money could be kicked in for when we started at the top of the year, and the reality is different. But then again, when we were recording these back in January, who knew what 2020 would have in store for us, right? Like,
dude, if I could tell you, right, like, in my head, the trajectory for this channel from when we started it, and if we just had a normal year, right? Even if we all found jobs and blah, 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 this, that, the other, fucking, I could tell you that I had grand plans, okay? And it's funny because at the time, if you had told me, hey, you've got these grand plans, well, guess what? You're going to be stuck at home for 8 months. I'd probably then and there say, well, that sounds fantastic because I can then achieve so much. And I have achieved so little in these 8 months. Dude, yeah. And not for lack of trying either. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. I don't understand how, like, this is why I'm convinced we're living in a simulation, Jamie. You know, just shout out to the Just Interesting boys. If you want to get into that kind of stuff, then go check them out. But yeah, it's just, I just can't believe that this is real life at the moment. And not just COVID, just like fucking everything that is going on. The fucking news reports coming up. I feel like I am the target of a troll, and that troll is running a simulation, and I am a fucking sim, and he's just fucking smacking me around.
You feel like your front door's going to get kicked down any second now, and Ashton Kutcher's going to come in and tell you that you've been punked for the entire calendar year.
And you know what the thing is? This year's been going in such a way that I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
And then you punch him and maybe go to jail for assault and battery, grievous bodily harm.
But then work my way up the ranks in the jail hierarchy and then start a jail podcast.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm tempting fate, but if nothing else, it seems like 2021 has a few more things going for it, perhaps. It's like one of those it can't get worse years, right? And at least, specifically talking about the last month, that I can think of two sort of news revelations, if you will, that have better implications for the future than we've had to deal with this year, if that makes sense.
Two?
I can think of two.
I can think of one.
One politics related, one health related. That's all I'll say.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
If that, I mean, but then they're both up in the air as to how much we'll actually notice them and what impact they'll actually have.
I don't know, dude. I was thinking on it, and like shower thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if anyone thinks like I can imagine people thinking that 2021 is going to be like the end of Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, right?
Right. I'm waiting to hear the rest of this analogy.
No, you know when they're like fucking Frodo has chucked the fucking coin into Mount Doom, the ring into Mount Doom, right?
Lost his finger.
And then lost his whatever, Gollum fucking bit it off, whatever. Gollum's dead. Spoilers, sorry. Just fucking get over it. And he's recovering in the fucking elf palace, and it's all fucking slow motion and soft focus, and everyone just gets a little bit gay with each other. Like that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. If anyone thinks that 2021 is going to be like a fucking reversal of fortunes, fucking get over it. Even if they come up with a COVID vaccine, you're going to take that COVID vaccine and your testicles are going to shrink into your body and pop out your ears. Like some shit's going to happen. We need
optimism, now. Chris. We need optimism.
That is optimism.
The boys are going to shrivel up and go back inside. Mr. PP is going to be on his own.
No, Mr. PP.
That's what I mean. Sorry, I'm saying it too quickly. Mr. PP. Well,
now you're just sounding like a bit of a pedo, dude. No, but okay. All jokes aside, you know what I mean. Like, it's. I'm sure everyone wishes that it would be like that.
Yeah.
But actually, what it's going to be is going to be towards more of the end of Return of the King, when Frodo and the other hobbits that went on the journey. Are just fucking sat at that pub and everyone's like fucking cheering because, hey, guess what? The fucking evil's been vanquished. But Frodo's just fucking staring into his fucking flagon of ale, just fucking broken.
Or like the end of is it the Hurt Locker where like the dude goes to the most traumatic like war shit ever, then comes home and there's that scene where he's at the supermarket and there's like 50 different types of cereal and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with the world? And so he just goes back. He just goes back and does another. It's like, fuck it, I'm going back to the desert. I'm doing it all again.
Can you imagine everyone's fucking cured of COVID and the guy's like, I can't handle it, so I got to get COVID again.
The moral of the story is that war is good and Cocoa Pops are the problem. If Catherine Bigelow taught me anything, she taught me that.
Well, I know we're a gaming podcast, Jamie, and we're digressing a lot here, but you know what? I've run out of cereal today and I didn't know what to do with myself.
Wow. So is that your breakfast routine? A big bowl of cereal?
Yeah, it's what's been happening this year. I've never been a big breakfast kind of guy. I've actually used to skip it a lot of time. Never used to have breakfast when I was at ATG, as an example. But now that I'm like at home...
It's because we were always 2 hours late for work when we were at ATG. That's why.
Yeah, fucking running.
Yeah, we were always sprinting in.
But yeah, and I ran out of cereal today and it just kind of like threw me. It's just almost like the small trivial things just kind of get you. Anyway, enough about the fucking... The COVID disaster.
Chris, one thing being at home has let us do more of, maybe not as much as we'd have liked, but more than we'd ever done before, is streaming. And I know that you've been streaming a little bit more in the last couple of weeks over at twitch.tv/Hot Panic. Be sure to go and follow if you haven't already. And I know, Chris, that what you've been hitting in the last 2 or 3 weeks at least has been a little bit of your nemesis, your rival. Do you want to tell me what the latest is? From the world of Sekiro,
however you want to fucking say it.
Sekiro.
So this is the third week that I've been streaming it, okay? Because it was kind of like I put it down for such a long time, and then I just kind of got the bug for it again. You know, the itch, scratch that testicle itch, and
they keep coming up.
I don't know why I did this, because it's the worst fucking thing in the world ever.
What are you talking about?
In a good way, but terrible. Okay, so you didn't pop in to check out the last stream, did you?
I've watched the VOD
of this week's one.
The most recent stream. It's like the big fire guy who. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but.
Well, no, I mean, I'm going to talk about it.
The ending is somewhat different to you didn't. Yeah, you're going to tell people. Yeah,
yeah. It's the Demon of Hatred. Okay, so the first week of streaming Sekiro that I did, we're going up against the True Corrupted Monk, and I hadn't played in a very long time. I was very rusty, and I beat him after an hour and 50 minutes. Okay, boom, done. Then it was like, cool, let's go defeat the Divine Dragon. Now this is like end game stuff, right? Like getting towards the end of the story. Did that. It was not a very hard boss. I think it was a bit of a palate cleanser for the final confrontation, which is going to be the final boss. But in the meantime, there's also an optional boss to take on, which is the Demon of Hatred, which, if you think about it, is the true kind of end game before you go into New Game Plus.
I see.
So I thought I'd try my hand at it, right? And this guy has 3 little fucking health bars that you got to get rid of. And I only managed to get, I think, 3 times throughout the whole 2.5 hour stream, I managed to get him down by 1 fucking health bar. So he's led 2 health bars. Yeah. Each time you get a health bar out, he pulls out more fucking crazy moves and it gets harder and harder. I just couldn't fucking do it, dude. I couldn't do it. In 2.5 hours. The thing is, like, sorry, I know I'm rambling, okay? But like with the True Corrupted Monk, he also had 3 health bars. But after an hour and 50 minutes, I fucking killed him. Demon of Hatred, I'm no closer to kind of destroying this dude. Like, so the next week's stream, I'm just gonna have to say, well, fuck the Demon of Hatred and go to the end game boss, which is the second hardest boss in the game. And actually, he's got 4 health bars because you have to defeat someone with 1 health bar, and then he transforms into someone with 3 fucking health bars.
When you say end game boss, do you mean like final boss, like the last thing you'll do? The
final boss, and then you finish the story.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't watch it live, so I couldn't chat to you, but I did watch the VOD, and there's no easy way to...
Did you see my slow descent into madness and hatred?
I kind of did, and this is what I was gonna say. There's no easy way to say this. Like, this might rub you up the wrong way, and I apologize in advance, but this honestly seemed like the draw of watching you play Sekiro over the months has been that you might bang your head against something, but so many times you've ended the stream with a victory, right? Yeah. You've ended the stream by saying, yes, we beat this boss. This seemed like the furthest away you've ever been from beating a boss, and you spent well, I know you diverted a little bit at the end to do a few other bits and pieces. Try and lure people off cliffs. Yeah, in terms of just pure boss action, this seemed like the furthest you've maybe ever been from killing.
And the thing is, like
I was watching and waiting for some twist where actually like you get rid of that first pip and the next 2 are just way easier, because it didn't seem right. But no.
Yeah, well, you know what it was? I think I was going into that stream quite tired already, and dude, you know, you're going up against the boss, and it's just kind of like beating you down so often, and it just kind of like destroys your morale, and you're just getting more and more tired. And eventually it got to like fucking midnight, and I was like, dude, I'm getting no closer to fucking killing this dude. You know, but hey, I don't know if I'm going to go back to Demon of Hatred.
Well,
heaven help me. Who knows?
I think I speak for everyone when I say that no matter what you choose, if you do decide to either fight him again, in which case fair play to you, or to move on to the actual final boss, you've got to let everyone know, because I think your journey with Sekiro now, dating all the way back to ATG streams, as crazy as that sounds, is so long and storied that I'm sure everyone who listens or watches or has ever been a part of either community will want to be a part of that final boss stream. So I know it's usually Monday evenings, right? UK time.
Yeah, Monday evenings, yeah.
So everyone stay tuned to socials, to Discord, to whatever, to make sure you know that if Chris's final Sekiro challenge is coming up, buy some popcorn, get the family sat around the TV, light a fire. It's going to be a long one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I need cheerleaders, basically. So, you know, come and cheer me on.
You need to get motivated. You need, you know.
I've got a bone to pick with you, though, Jamie.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? You're in the dog box, my friend. Because when was the last time that you streamed?
a long time ago. Shall I find out an actual date for you?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
please do.
I'm sure I probably could if I find a way to look
probably
at my
about
own
like
VODs.
2 months ago.
It's probably in that ballpark. That's not a good sign when I first go to Twitch and go to video producer. It's like, you've got no videos, dude.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you're an affiliate, I think they only stick around for 2-3 weeks. Your VODs.
Yeah, I don't even know how to see when I last streamed.
You got to check your channel analytics, I guess.
Channel analytics. Okay. Wow. I last streamed, it looks like on September 26th. So that's 2 months today.
I told you. Oh, fucking, I nailed it to the fucking day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, as much as I'm liking Sekiro, and I do want to, next week I'll try the last boss. But we got to get back into like doing the stupid fun shit, like the Among Us stream. That we did,
totally do.
Or with fucking Warzone. I've just loaded Apex because I've deleted it from my Origin and I've loaded it up on my Steam.
Yeah.
Like, let's just do shit.
The thing
boys.
is, like, we joke about it, and we joke about it in a load of different ways. Whether it's been whether it's been our streaming stuff, whether it's been our YouTube stuff, whether it's podcast stuff. Like, guess where Jonesy is today? He's got work to do. Not to spoil it for the folks at home.
Scheduling has been a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, and like we've all had periods over the course of this year. Like none of us. I'm sure people have guessed by now. None of us work a 9 to 5. We're all just. This has been a year of doing shit where you can, and sometimes that's meant having time for streaming, and sometimes it's meant it's not, and it's varied for all of us. And like we try and banter each other about it, but the reality is like. It's super tough, like, and I'm glad you've been able to get back into it, and now you're on schedule again, and Monday night streams are a thing again because
that's only because I've got nothing else going, Jamie.
Well, yeah, but then
other than like parenting,
that's the thing. Even that is like is temporary in and of itself, and like not to depress any of the people at home who really get a kick out of the streams, but like even. Your Monday night streams, like there's probably a time limit on them too, and then the next thing will come along, and then you've got work to do, and you've got shit to focus on, and we're back at square one. Like it is
mental. But okay, to give people a bit of a peek behind the curtain, right? So we're recording this on a Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, mid-afternoon, I guess. Well, noon.
Yeah.
And Jonesy couldn't join us today because of scheduling conflicts. He could record tonight, but I couldn't join because of scheduling conflicts. I could record tomorrow, but you, Jamie, and Jonesy couldn't do it tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow being a Friday, which is when the podcast should be going up, it always makes it a bit fucking difficult. Like, it's just, we're going to have weeks like this, where we just kind of like got to get over it. You know what my week's been this week?
What's it
my son was sick on Monday and Tuesday, so he was at home. He wasn't at nursery.
Actually, I remember you messaged me about that, yeah.
Right? It's like, fucking, I can't do anything. But obviously, kid goes to sleep and I can stream. So that was a saving grace at least. Yesterday, I took my car to get dropped off for a service. Okay, 20,000 miles. Just
I thought you were about to say £20,000 was like the bill, or so. It was like
20. Fucking hell, I don't know.
Would you ever? What freelance gigs are you not telling us about? Sorry. 20,000.
I wish. Yeah, I wish I could earn money to not blink at a fucking £20,000 thing. Anyway, and today recording the podcast and then going to pick up the car after the podcast. And tomorrow I'm editing the podcast and uploading the podcast. And it's like, there's my week, fucking absolutely dissolved into the ether.
Everyone has been in this like had something to do with this year, right? And I'm sure they all know that even if you didn't have things to do, which you have had, they still fucking disappear. Like, you'll wake up on a day with quote unquote nothing to do and spend all day doing nothing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I straight up lost months this year between jobs, between gigs, between freelance, whatever it was. Months of my life disappeared, and I'll never get them back. And now look at me. Although, Chris, it's worth noting that you did find a little bit more time for gaming, more than the aforementioned Sekiro.
Yeah, and more than usual in a week for me, I guess, because I played, as I mentioned earlier, I played some Dota 2 yesterday, some Dietide with Paul, and some unranked matches, just pub matches.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun, kind of easing myself back into that.
Good.
Played a bit more Jedi Fallen Order, not much to report there, just kind of carrying on. So someone asked me on the Discord what I thought of it, and I said it's a very good Star Wars game, but something about the movement and the mechanics of the dude that you're controlling just feel a little bit like stiff and very unrespawn, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's coming from Sekiro, where everything feels a lot more fluid. Not that Sekiro is like fucking butter, but yeah, I don't know. It just felt very kind of like stilted and jittery and twitchy and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's Jedi Fallen Order.
I remember we speculated before that game came out. Do you remember we saw some footage of things like wall running and things like that? It's almost like some of the seams between the animations didn't seem quite as polished as maybe they could have been. And we speculated at the time of whether it was a first to third person jump for respawn that caused like it puts a different emphasis on what you have to see, I guess.
Yeah, right. Because if you're in first person, you don't see your feet, right? As an example.
Right.
So
yeah.
But yeah, so I've been doing that, and then as you kind of nerd shamed me earlier, I've been playing some online chess with Martin from Just Interesting and Jonesy, and hopefully we're going to get you involved. But you said
I don't know how to. I literally, it's not even like you guys where you're like, I maybe need a refresher. I don't know the rules. Ask me what a fucking knight can do. I don't have a clue.
Up 2 and across 1. Easy, dude.
Yeah, it sounds like you're playing Connect 4. What? Like,
yeah, I don't know. The funny thing about this is all of us who've been playing chess, we were just kind of like, yeah, chess, we know the rules, but we're terrible at it. And it's almost like trying to gauge who's not as bad as the other person.
Have you been able to gauge it yet?
Well, we're still getting there.
No, come on. Between you three, give us a clue.
Well, no, okay. So I was meant to play Jonesy, but I didn't. I played Martin, and the time ran out, but he beat me because he had taken more pieces than I had taken of his.
Okay.
The time ran out, right? And then I played my wife. I was like, hey, look at the chess app I've got. And I absolutely fucking annihilated her.
Nice, good. Maintaining showing who's wearing the trousers. I like it.
Dominance, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so I've been playing those things. I'm just getting super ready. Okay, so I think next what I'm going to do is I might take a break from Jedi Fallen Order, get Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS4. Just because I got that itch and I just have to fucking do it. I don't know when I'm going to get a PS5, if ever. Well, I say if ever. I'll get one, but like, who knows when. And I'm just biding my time for Cyberpunk.
Which isn't that far away now, is it? What's the date, the new date now?
10th.
The 10th. So at the time of recording, we're looking at exactly 2 weeks.
Yeah. So
kind of nuts.
And this is the closest we've ever been to the release of the game.
Right.
And they released the Xbox footage, which we spoke about last week. And since then, they've released the PlayStation footage. And I don't know, man. I'm so ready for it, as I've mentioned before. But here's an interesting take. I think I might have a gaming cleanse before it comes out. Like a week of no gaming. Just
I see. That's an interesting shout.
Just a detox, and then when you jump back in, you're jumping back into a fresh game. You're not having any residual things. Because the thing that's happening with me with Sekiro and Jedi Fallen Order is I'm memorizing the controls and how they, the rhythm of the game, and they're at odds with each other. And maybe I just got to,
you've got to flush those toxins out.
Yeah. Flush the toxins out. Don't worry about it. So what I'll do is I'll stream on the Monday. That's fine. But then just kind of fucking nothing. Don't even try. Don't even attempt. Because sometimes it's like, I want to play a game, and then shit gets in your way, and then you're like, I'm so angry and pissed off. Nah, fucking woozah, fucking all that shit is chill. So next week, from now into next week, some Miles Morales, then a fucking break, and there's fucking Cyberpunk.
I kind of inadvertently did that before the PS5. People might remember I went ages without like buying anything and trying anything new, and I feel like I benefited from it. So you might actually be onto something there. You might have to write a little like a guru's handbook of the art of video game cleansing. Yeah.
I'll start a blog.
I could believe it. But speaking of Spider-Man Miles Morales, That's one of the games I've been playing on the PlayStation 5 this past week. And
on the PlayStation 5, yeah?
Yeah, so there's a new console, the Sony PlayStation 5.
Oh, right, the Sony PlayStation 5.
Yeah, the Sony PlayStation 5. I'm a proud owner of a Sony... No, I'm joking. Spider-Man Miles Morales, I finished it last night.
Oh, wow. Okay, how long did it take you? Do you know?
So I did a fair amount of side stuff, but not all of it. I think I did all the side missions, but not all like kind of the bases and hideouts. I did all of one kind of collectible, but like missed some of the other ones just for reference.
Like the pigeon shit or the backpacks or whatever.
Exactly. So like I think I did all of the backpack equivalent, but like not all of a couple of the other bits. And I rolled credits after 12 hours.
Wow. Okay. See, that's why I think I can do this, right? I can squirrel game that amount of time in a week.
If you don't do side stuff, if you don't do collectibles or anything like that, maybe just do the side missions and not the collectibles.
Yeah.
I think you could get this done in 8 to 10.
That sounds pretty decent to me.
Yeah, it's a much more your speed. And look, I don't think anyone should be surprised that Spider-Man Miles Morales is a good game by this point, right? Because the 2018 game was so strong in so many ways. I think the thing that surprised me is just how much I actually like it, and in how many ways I like it more than I like the 2018 one.
Really?
Well, here's the thing, right? Insomniac, and we talked about this a lot at the time, did a lot of like really cool things with Spider-Man 2018 in terms of, hey, we don't need to see Peter Parker's origin story. We don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. We can, take a Spider-Man at a different part of his life, and we can take different takes on villains, and people will accept that stuff because they've got the groundwork laid down, and they just need to see our interpretations. And that stuff worked, but it didn't all work for me. I remember not everyone agreed with me, but I had a lot of criticism for, spoiler alert, for the 2018 Spider-Man, not Miles Morales, but I had a lot of negative things to say about Doc Ock. In that, from 5 minutes into that game that there's a mysterious scientist called Dr. Otto Octavius, and the game never tries to twist your expectations based on what that tells you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. They could have gone a different way with it.
Yes. So Miles Morales almost hit some of those own notes, but I think they do more to divert away from what people are going to expect from some of the characters you might expect to see in a Miles Morales story. Like, it's not a huge surprise to say that if you've seen Spider-Verse, which is my only real Miles Morales exposure for him as Spider-Man, you'll already know some things about characters in his life. But but this game does more than I thought the 2018 did to keep you guessing about who they are and what they're going to do and the role they'll play. And I appreciated that.
So I guess the one thing that I haven't been seeing a lot of Spider-Man Miles Morales coverage is almost like the story elements or story beats.
I really dug it. This is the other thing I really liked, is that, first of all, it just feels more concise. There's no Miles Morales equivalent to the Mary Jane sequences. There's no Miles Morales equivalent to the 4 stealth sequences. Every mission is a Spider-Man mission. And it's this really weird thing where it's kind of like it's bookended at the front by this cutscene that makes you think like, hey, Pete Parker's going on holiday and this is just what happens. This stuff probably doesn't matter too much. And it gets up to speed really quickly, and that's kind of what you think you're seeing, like a side story, like the DLC for Spider-Man 2018, in that how much is this actually going to matter? Who knows? I think they do make that stuff matter more than I thought they would. Not necessarily in terms of characters or ideas or plot points that will be relevant to a Spider-Man 2, but in terms of that stuff that Miles is going to take with him, and Miles will be a big part of Spider-Man 2, and that's a part of his journey now. I think some of the stuff, like, I just thought some of the other characters, the supporting cast was really strong. And I thought Miles is a more interesting Spider-Man than Peter Parker is. I thought some of the Aunt May stuff and the Mary Jane stuff was actually decent, but Miles, I don't know what it was. I liked being around Miles more for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think there's just some really fun story stuff. Troy Baker is in this game playing a role
a relator.
Well, this is the thing. It's literally him playing the role that he was, if you agreed with the rants that we were going on earlier this year, the role he was born to play, where he's no longer hero protagonist. He's now cocky, smug, scumbag, billionaire CEO. And it's like this is perfect for Troy, and to be fair, he fucking nails it. Like that character's really fun to watch in a weird way.
Well, I mean, we kind of talk shit about Troy Baker, but we still like the dude. He's good at what he does.
Oh, he's unbelievable at what he does. One of the best in the industry for and he gets the work he deserves. I don't want to go on too much about it because at the end of the day, it's a Spider-Man story and most people know what they're dealing with. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was concise. I thought it was fun. And at this point, they know what they're doing. They know how to make swinging feel good. They know how to make combat feel good. They know how to deliver, emotional, impactful moments. They know how to tease stuff, how to reveal stuff. There are post-credits stings again. There are hints as to what Spider-Man 2 might entail. It delivers on a lot of what you'd want, and it does it in a more concise way. Less filler, shorter game. I thought it's it's not full price. It's a strong offering.
Yeah, decent. Okay, well, have you been playing anything else?
The only other thing I wanted to mention was that I've still been playing Black Ops Cold War, but I know I've spoken about the multiplayer a couple of times. I started the campaign.
Okay.
Which
and that's gonna be like a 6-hour campaign, right?
I think even less probably at this rate.
Really?
Dude, probably no. I wouldn't be surprised by 4 or 5 maybe if you're fast enough.
Wow.
Dude, I think we've made this joke before, but like I don't know if they know what they want this game to be. Where it's like part of the team working on this game were like, let's use real archival footage of Ronald Reagan and Kremlin shit, fucking Soviet Union stuff, and all paranoia. And the other part were like, let's make a movie.
Michael Bay.
Yeah, let's make this guy that looks like Robert Redford with the world's most ridiculous scar all over his face that's like saying stupid shit, and you go flashbacks to Vietnam and playing licensed music and espionage. And then the other part is like, yeah, but what if it was paranoia and Ronald Reagan? What if this was real? Yeah.
And it ties into Modern Warfare as well, doesn't it?
Well, see, this is the thing. I haven't seen any of that stuff yet. Or I know that there is some strange shit that goes on towards the end of this game. I haven't seen what that entails yet. But then that in itself is weird because it's technically set between Black Ops 1 and 2. And it's got Woods, Mason, Hudson, all those characters people might remember in it. So then that would be a weird implication of like, I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but like if Modern Warfare was kind of also about Modern Warfare, is Black Ops Cold War? Basically it seems like I'm wondering if they're starting to fill out what is their take of like an alternate universe where everything is connected. I don't want to. I'll speak more about it once I've finished it. But yeah,
they basically saw the Marvel Cinematic Universe and they're like, I want a slice of that.
I mean, from what I've heard, I know this game has multiple endings, but from what I've heard, some of them are kind of mad. I've seen one very spoilery thumbnail that is utterly bizarre given the Call of Duty canon. I don't know how many people care about it anymore. Can I give a shout out to one thing though?
Yeah.
Most Call of Duty games, not all of them, cast you as like a named character, some kind of protagonist and blah, 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 blah. This one is slightly different. You're given a code name. It's kind of like NBA 2K that everyone refers to as an alias, which is Bell.
Yeah.
But your actual information, first name, last name, gender, skin tone, military background, and even a few kind of perks that affect your stats and abilities. You choose that stuff. Okay. So that's almost a character creator. Not in terms of what they look like, but in terms of their information. And I thought that was interesting. Kind of being able to have more of a say of who you are and what your background is and stuff
so like that. Really what you're saying is give it 3 years and Call of Duty is going to be a straight up RPG.
Big time, bro. Big time. I mean, fucking hell, if Treyarch have anything to do with it, it sounds like that's what they're interested in. But actually, in fact, this wasn't... I don't know. This was a weird Call of Duty, man, wasn't it? This was Sledgehammer and Raven working together. Then apparently there was fisticuffs there. Activision stepped in, took Sledgehammer off it and kept Raven on the campaign and got Treyarch to do the multiplayer. And that's why it's a Black Ops game. And now I think Sledgehammer are the ones in the shit and like loads of their senior members have left. I don't know. Call of Duty, huh?
Dude, you know what? Just forget Call of Duty. Just get a VR headset and go play Medal of Honor.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made that that's a the way to do it. But you know what?
Yeah.
Let it be known that I like Call of Duty.
That's fair, dude. I'll see if I can find it. There was a very interesting tweet I saw today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank God I got it. It was a comment left on the original Cyberpunk 2077 teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Original.
So that came out on the 10th of January, 2013.
Jeez.
Okay. And it says things that have happened since Cyberpunk was announced. Okay. And it's got a whole list here. I'm not going to read all of them, but a couple of interesting ones. So the one that made me think of this is 11 Call of Duties.
Jesus Christ.
Isn't that mad to think 11 Call of Duties since fucking Cyberpunk was announced?
Yeah.
All right. So some other things. 2 Last of Us's, if that's how you say it. 2 Resident Evil remakes, 2 Rockstar open worlds, 3 Gears of War, 9 Assassin's Creeds. Announcement that Final Fantasy Versus 13 became Final Fantasy 15 and was launched, which in itself is kind of like mental. Announcement and launch of Shenmue 3, announcement and launch of Final Fantasy 7 remake, 2 Fallouts, 4 Battlefields. Ouya was born and died. There have been 2 World Cups, 1 entire Star Wars trilogy, 6 Yakuza games, 2 Popes, 2 Spider-Man reboots in theaters, 3 Avengers movies, the death of the Wii U and the birth of the Switch, the launch of the PlayStation 4, the launch of the PlayStation 5, the launch of the Xbox One, the launch of the Xbox Series, Stadia's birth and potential death, and Skyrim can run on a fridge.
Wow. It's my favorite Christmas song.
Skyrim running on a fridge.
No, and a partridge in a pear tree. That's the final line you missed, right?
And a partridge in a pear tree. But isn't that mad to think? 11 fucking Call of Duty. Anyway. So
yeah, well, it's also mad to think about.
I thought that was quite a
funny,
interesting.
That's like
aside.
fucking 600 quid that I've spent on Call of Duty games. Great. Thanks, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, though, because I haven't checked in a very long time, what the fuck is the state of Warzone with the Black Ops and all of this?
So not a huge amount has changed yet. All we know is that, like, basically is the overhaul, if you want to call it that, will not be dramatic. Warzone will continue to be free to play. It will continue to be tied to Modern Warfare.
Okay.
In terms of, like, that's what it will launch out of. And it will still be in running Modern Warfare's engine, because for anyone that doesn't know, IW's engine and Treyarch's engines are obviously different. Things that Modern Warfare introduced and subsequently in Warzone, like tactical sprint, where you double hit sprint and lift your weapon up, mounting, etc., etc. Those are concepts that aren't in Black Ops. So that stuff is staying in Warzone, which means that, interestingly, for the first time ever, Call of Duty or Activision have had to commit to continuing to support Modern Warfare. So basically, we're now looking at a year where Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Black Ops Cold War all exist simultaneously. Because they didn't want to. I guess they didn't want a situation where Black Ops Cold War and Warzone existed, and they weren't comparable in terms of engine and design philosophy and so on and so forth. There'll be one battle pass across all 3 games. No matter which one of those 3 games you're playing, you'll be contributing towards that battle pass, which is quite nice for anyone that is going to keep playing all 3. All the Black Ops Cold War guns are going to come into Warzone for free. So all the operators are going to come into Warzone as well. So you end up being a weird thing where, like, Warzone becomes an intersection between the two in terms of content, but still leans towards Modern Warfare in terms of how it plays and how it feels. It's still going to be free to play, and so on and so forth. My opinion is that they just looked at it and were like, right, Modern Warfare 2 is probably coming out next year. And Warzone will make sense again by that point. If we can keep it alive for just this year as kind of a thing that's aside from Black Ops Cold War but has some links to it, then maybe we'll be okay. And but they need a new map, or they need to change the map significantly. Like everyone who plays Warzone, everyone who does content for Warzone, everyone wants something new at this point. The meta hasn't changed in ages. The map hasn't changed in ages. this is an
issue, right?
opportunity.
Like if they don't refresh it, people just fucking
Right,
leave.
exactly. Like, you know, I think you see that's happening. Like, you go and find Warzone creators, and a lot of them, what they're saying is like, we need something new to do, to talk about, and players are starting to feel that too. I think to a certain extent.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll keep tabs on it. You know.
Okay. Cool.
But nice. Given though that's all that we've got to talk about in terms of what we played this week, shall we roll on into the news, Christoph?
You know what? Just fucking call me Adele because I'm ready to roll in the deep. Yes, that was terrible. I know. Just let's forget about it and move on to the news.
Wow. Chris, I think actually I'm clock watching. It's probably time to end the podcast. Thank you all so much for let's do it. Look, obviously news last week was heavily inspired. I don't even know what word to use there, by the launch of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and all that stuff. And Jonesy and I sharing our kind of day one thoughts. We're kind of back to the regular news rotation, Chris, in terms of sort of slightly more bite-sized bits of news popping up. And one that has popped up this week it revolves around Red Dead Online, the online component to the Red Dead world that was launched alongside Red Dead Redemption 2. It's funny, there were so many leaks and rumors and stuff this week about Red Dead being remastered, maybe Red Dead Redemption coming back in some way, shape or form, Red Dead Redemption 2 also coming back for the PlayStation 5. There was a photoshopped Amazon page that went around and got a lot of traction and stuff. Turns out the actual news we got this week is that Red Dead Online is essentially going standalone, which means you will no longer need to own Red Dead Redemption 2 to have access to Red Dead Online. We're talking about a $5 launch price, which is running up until January 15th. That launch price is 75% off, which means that after mid-January, we're talking about a $20 buy-in, which is I don't know how much content is in that game, but that seems like a lot for Red Dead Online and not Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know. This is going to launch on December 1st, though, Chris, so just under a week out. And I've one last thing to tell you before you start sharing your thoughts, because this might sway your opinion. You might have to clear up a bit of hard drive space for this bad boy. We're talking about 123 gigabytes. And that is perhaps so high because there's going to be an option to upgrade to the full game. You got to wonder if maybe they're doing the sneaky thing where you're kind of
game files are there.
Yeah, you're installing everything, which I wondered this week when I opened Steam and found a 50 gigabyte update for Destiny 2 waiting for me. And I was like,
what?
That sounds 50? Like yeah, because like I haven't bought that new thing yet, but
so that's the expansion.
It's sure as hell going to put it on my hard drive until I do.
I mean, 123 gigs is fucking mental just for Red Dead Online. But I guess, because I haven't really played Red Dead Online because I just didn't enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2. Is it the same? Is it the same map? It's the same size. It's not like a smaller contained area.
No, it makes more use out of those southern areas that the campaign, for story reasons, doesn't really go into. But it's the same landmass, yeah.
So I've been thinking, like, this just kind of initially struck me as a bit odd, right? Like, why do this? But then again, right, saying $5 and you get access to that entire map, whether you play it as an online game or just as a fucking sandbox to play in.
Yeah.
$5 is a decent fucking price. Even $20 is not bad.
See, but $20, and I know this is me being silly because this is Rockstar and their prices don't go down that much over time because the games keep selling. But I want Red Dead Redemption 2 in total to cost $20 by January 2021. You know? And maybe that's like naive of me, but
how popular even is Red Dead Online?
Well, probably not as popular as they would have hoped by this. Like GTA Online, as crazy as it sounds, never did this. GTA Online is still a part of GTA 5 unless I'm mistaken. So
do you think that this is like a precursor to GTA Online being its own standalone thing?
I don't think it's impossible that happens in the future, but I think with what they've got with GTA is that people are continuing to vote with their wallets. And what those people voting are saying is that, hey, whether it's for the single player or the online, we don't care. We are happy to continue buying GTA 5 at the prices that you were selling it for. I wonder if that's happening less with Red Dead Redemption 2. And if this is a kind of a move that my first reaction to this, it might be more to it. This was a move to inject a higher player count into Red Dead Online to make more money. because the player counts are dwindling and it's not generating as much revenue as GTA Online is, or perhaps just below projections for what they thought.
So I've just looked up
I don't know.
I've looked up a projection of how many players are online for.
Yeah.
Although this is just Red Dead Redemption 2 live player counts. I don't know if it means Red Dead Online, but it's 641,000 players.
Okay.
But I don't think that's online.
And on what
is
that on a specific platform?
It doesn't necessarily say.
That doesn't sound like a lot based on how many people bought the game, but maybe I've got my numbers wrong.
I mean, the game is like 2 years old now? 1 year?
2 years, just over 2 years.
But an interesting thing is from 4th of September 2020, there's an article on Polygon that says Red Dead Onlines are almost dead. Red Dead Online lobbies are almost dead. Well,
the game had a lot of issues. I remember that I listened to a podcast and follow a site where a couple of people on it were weirdly into that game. And they would openly talk about the fact, like, we were meant to play Red Dead Online this week and everything was broken. Like, you couldn't fire your gun this week, or every NPC in the game you couldn't talk to this week. So that game, it's strange. And that's also why I'm confused by this. It's like, this is what you do when you have, like, do you remember when Fallout 76 went onto Game Pass?
Yes.
What you try and increase the player count when you feel like you're at a point where those people are going to come in and stay and then spend money along the way. That's what $5 and the standalone idea of Red Dead Online does, right? Is it gets people through the door, and then once they're through the door, you try and keep them inside. Yeah. But from nothing I've heard has suggested that there's anything on the interior of Red Dead Online's offerings that are actually going to keep people around.
Yeah,
do you know what I
mean? I know that this Red Dead Online standalone coincides with their latest update, which is the Bounty Hunters update. But here's the weird thing, right? Like, I follow Rockstar on like Twitter and Instagram, just in case, because that's how they fucking announced like Red Dead and whatever.
Yeah, they just changed their banner one day, didn't they?
And everyone fucking lost their minds, broke the internet. But so you follow them, and then you look at the fucking Insta stories or whatever, and it's always like, oh, fucking Ma Baker's coming to Red Dead. And it's like, who cares? Get this rare raccoon pelt on Red Dead. Who cares?
But the funny thing is, who cares? But the internet is so fucking thirsty for Rockstar stuff that everyone goes crazy. Like, there's this one subreddit I go to for sort of news and rumors. Every time Rockstar unpin a tweet, meaning they've now got room for a new pinned one, everyone's like, what if GTA 6? And it's like, can't, boys.
I read the...
Take it easy.
Take it easy, buddy. You're getting too excited there.
A
little bit pitchy. There was an article that I saw the headline of that was like, oh, Rockstar fans think GTA 6 is coming up because there's a road in Puerto Rico that is a V and an I. And there's a new update coming to GTA Online, which is adding a new environment, a new
for the
region,
first time.
Right? Yeah.
Right, and they debuted it with a trailer. And to be fair, this is kind of odd. Like, someone's done this on purpose. They debuted it with a trailer that at the start has kind of like some camera overlay stuff and coordinates at the bottom. And the real world coordinates go to, as you say, some part, if you type them in on Google Maps or whatever, it's like a weird thing where it looks in the ground like a V and an I have been drawn.
Yeah, it's a dirt road.
That's shaped
undulates and whatever.
Like a V and an I joined at the top. And like, I mean, that could be any one person at Rockstar, like, having a bit of fun. But the other thing that drives me crazy about all of this is that, and I've had this exact rant before, so I'm not going to go too deep on it. But like,
no, rant, Jamie.
Chris, I want to see
the froth coming out of your mouth.
I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to do it as a Q&A. Chris, can you? Okay. If I'm the Q, can you be my A?
I mean, I'll allow it for today.
Okay.
Right?
Are Rockstar going to make another Grand Theft Auto game?
Yes.
What number will that Grand Theft Auto game be?
2.
Let's roll it again. Let's assume that GTA is going to continue in chronological order. What number will the next Grand Theft Auto?
It's going to be Vice City 2, right?
Don't be facetious. What?
Okay. Then it's 6. 6 after 5, right? Yeah.
Is there anyone on planet Earth, to your knowledge, that doesn't believe Grand Theft Auto 6 will exist at some point?
No. Or maybe Jonesy, because Jonesy's just kind of like that.
Yeah, tinfoil hat and all that. So what is the relevance of Rockstar themselves saying the number 6? Like, it doesn't matter if they say it's already real. Like, what do you think they're doing? What do you think is next? Yes, it might have a different name. I remember when I was disappointed that Red Dead Redemption 2 was called that because I wanted them to use a different word beginning with R, and I thought the idea of Red Dead Redemption 2 being a prequel to Red Dead Redemption hurt my head. But in the end, it didn't matter. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, it's still a Rockstar game about cowboys.
Right, exactly.
It was Red Dead Revenge that we were all saying would
Red
be a
Dead
cool
Revenge. Name, right? Yeah.
But then that was before it was it's a prequel.
Yeah.
It's a prequel.
And then they changed it from a numerical 2 to a Roman numeral 2, and I was much more okay with it. I did not like the early versions of that logo with a fat number 2 on it. I was like, this makes no sense. You guys are idiots.
You were gonna get the pitchforks out. I know.
Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all fucking obvious shit, isn't it? It's like, guess what? Rockstar, GTA, fucking prints money. How do you want to continue printing money? You release another version of it, right?
Yeah, it's like one of if not the biggest sort of franchises on planet Earth. I don't know what you want to qualify.
No, it
you
is.
Use for that. There you go.
It was the most successful and highest earning entertainment franchise on the planet.
There you go. So all we need is patience. I will say though, I want to know what that game looks like post GTA Online, post Hauser departure. Seriously. Like,
yeah.
Like, I want to know what that game looks like. I want to know who writes it. I want to know if it still has that Rockstar touch. We'll see.
Can I tell you the thing that I've learned over the years with these kinds of things, where it's like the team leaves or dissipates, or whatever.
Tell me.
Largely doesn't really matter.
You're probably right.
You know, DNA is DNA for a reason. Like, it can go wrong, but that's usually when someone tries to fuck with the DNA of it.
Yeah.
But for the companies that get entirely new staff or whatever, as long as they understand what the DNA is,
right. I mean, how many like credited writers did Red Dead Redemption 2 have in the end? It was quite a few, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I don't know. You think I saw the credits of that fucking game? You're mad.
I think it was 3.
Yeah.
Of which one was a Hauser. Yeah, it was 3.
And the other thing is, you know what the reality of it is? If you think 3 people wrote that entire game, you're a fucking idiot.
Right, you're also full on correct with that.
You know, they'd have like a team of like fucking 50 to 100 writers just fucking churning shit out, probably.
Yeah. In fact, in the kind of the above the line credits, Dan Houser getting a writing credit is the only name anyone will recognize. Like producer Rob Nelson, designer Imran Sarwar, programmer Phil Hooker, artist Aaron Garbett. Like, these aren't household names. And that was Red Dead Redemption 2, I think one of the finest games of the decade. So,
finest games of the decade.
Because it was the finest game of the... I don't know why I said finest. That's so fucking lame. Anyway, we'll keep eyes on that. We'll keep tabs on that. And I guess we'll also keep tabs on Red Dead Online and how that grows, perhaps in player base, perhaps in appreciation with this new standalone offering at an introductory price.
I just wonder, as uninteresting as that news is to me, what is interesting about it is whatever the potential implications for GTA Online would be. Because I think I theorized before that they would spin it out into its own kind of thing.
It will make sense eventually. Like GTA 5 copies will stop flying off shelves at some point. I know it sounds crazy to say 7 years later that a game will stop selling, but it hasn't happened yet. At which point, I'm sure they're going to explore all their options. Standalone, free to play, you name it, they'll try it. There's too much money left to be made.
Well, they got to get through the PS5 version first, right?
Yes, they will have to do that, and that isn't even coming till next year, I don't think. Which suits some people, Chris, because they might not be getting their PS5s until next year, and that is all thanks to probably the most hated group of people on planet Earth right now, at least in the tech world, and that is Scalpers.
Scalpers. I thought you were going to talk about unbox therapy, but yeah, Scalpers.
Jesus Christ. No, I'm talking about Scalpers. I'm talking people that, whether through bots or just any other means, are going around and they are snagging PlayStation 5s before the everyday consumers like you or I can get our hands on them. We're reading news reports that have emerged this week, Chris, that as many as 3,500 PlayStation 5s were gobbled up by these scalpers and sold for a hefty profit. I don't know what the dollar value. Sorry. I think
it's even worse than that, Jamie. I think it was one group of scalpers.
One particular group, wow.
One particular group of scalpers that managed to get 3,500 PS5s, which I think it's worth mentioning is more than an allocated unit for a lot of the retailers that are out there.
I wouldn't be surprised. And like you go through how many groups of scalpers like this there probably are, at lesser amounts, or perhaps even comparable amounts of PlayStation 5s. That means
it's mental. No fucking wonder I was not able to get my hands on a PS5.
Even if you tried, I can tell you from knowing firsthand people who did try, it was an absolute shit show. The whole getting more, and I'm sure it's been the same in the States, every wave of stock still goes in seconds, and not a single retailer is stepping up to do anything to prevent it.
Yeah, and you know what's even weirder is that even if you did manage to get a pre-order, didn't mean that you got your PS5. People have been getting fucking bags of rice in their Amazon boxes.
Yeah,
and Amazon's response: "Oh, here's a $10 gift card."
You honestly,
our very own Sam Richards from 101 Facts, go check out his channel. He's been on the show before as a guest. He ordered it got a pre-order of his PS5 from, I think, Very.
Correct.
And on the day of release, they just magically changed his delivery to a month later.
Mm-hmm. He got to the day before his order was due, and they shifted it by an entire month.
That's mental to me. And there's no recourse.
No. And if you do, and the horrible thing is, if you do feel like you're getting desperate, if you feel like the retailers are not helping you, which they are not, and you go online, you go to eBay or wherever it may be to see what these scalpers are selling them for, the numbers are astronomical.
Yeah, and 2-3 times the price. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the regrettable thing is that for the time being, this will hopefully change over some period of time, but for now, there are too many people willing to pay those prices. There are too many people willing to go up to, I don't know what the dollar equivalent is, but probably in the region of like $800, $900, $1,000 plus, and those they're selling.
There was who was it? Manuel Guerrero was saying that, was it in Guatemala? It was on the Discord. That in Guatemala, like they're selling him for like $1,600 US. It was like
Puerto Rico, and it was $1,600.
Oh shit! I've done the fucking cardinal sin, Jamie.
What have you done?
I've called Puerto Rico Guatemala.
Is that actually a thing that people do?
I don't know. I just remember there's that one Scrubs episode where it's like, what was the nurse's name? Carla was like, "No, I'm from Dominican Republic. I'm not Puerto Rican," and she's like got like really uppity about it. So I don't know.
Oh.
Sorry, Manuel Guerrero.
I don't think you're gonna get cancelled, Chris.
Thank God. But yeah, it's mad because fucking Jim Ryan did come out and say, PS5 inventory is sold out. That's not to say that that stock is sold out, but from Sony's perspective, all the inventory that they had has been sold and shipped over to retail.
Yeah.
So that's kind of mental.
It is mental, and honestly, this has been a crazier period than I ever thought it would be. Whether it's pre-orders, whether it's the actual orders now that the consoles are out, it's astonishing to me that demand has been this high and supply has been this hard to come by. And again, I'll say it again. I think it's just really disappointing that there's so many players in this game. It's hard to pin the blame on any one party, but I think it's so easy or it should be so easy for retailers to set up systems that protect consumers, or at least give them more of a helping hand to combat these issues that we know we're going to have every single time. And no one's done anything about it.
I've got a question for you, right? Because so these scalpers, they use bots to get in there and get all of the inventory, like the millisecond they go on sale, right?
Yes.
Which is why, like, you could be there fucking on the dot, maybe 30 seconds later, and everything is sold out.
Yeah.
But my question is this, right? Because we've all seen those memes about like, oh, I tried to fucking I had it in my basket, and then it asked me to do the fucking capture thing, and I had to tick the box saying I'm not a robot, and I had to identify all the fucking fire hydrants and what's a motorbike and there's been all those memes, okay? But if the bots can fucking go through all of that shit, then why do we have to do that? Like, what is?
I don't know if there. I don't know how many of these retailers have captures for buying stuff.
I mean, even if it's the most simplest fucking thing, and I don't see why a bot couldn't get over it. But even the most simple thing of ticking a box that's saying I am not a robot,
right?
Like, I just don't get it. Like, if you don't have that as a retailer, then fuck you. Go fuck yourself. That's bullshit. Because then all you're doing is you're opening it up to scalpers because you don't care, because all that means is that you know that all of your assigned stock will be sold out in a matter of milliseconds, and you're okay with that because you don't care where it goes to and you don't care about your customers. And I say a big fuck you to that one.
Yeah, regrettably, that seems to be the prevailing theme, doesn't it? That as long as they go, which of course they will, they don't mind. I just wish there was a way to make sure more of these PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's were ending up in the hands of people that really wanted it, especially like at the year we've had when money is so hard to come by, with Christmas around the corner. You know, I literally I'm an individual, and this makes me look bad as a 27-year-old who sits around playing video games on my fat ass. But I'm a person with a sibling who wants a PlayStation 5 and a helpless dad in this situation who doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Like, it's and I'm not suggesting that like, oh, that there should be enough for everyone, blah 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 blah. I understand that these things don't grow on trees. Someone has to miss out, but we shouldn't be missing out in this way.
No, when a fucking group of scalpers take 3,500, Jamie, sorry, it shouldn't be that way.
No, it shouldn't.
But hey, Sony have pledged more stock to come before the year is out. So
yeah, and I guess for them, when everything's going so well, right? Why wouldn't you just keep feeding the machine, feeding the beast? I mean, as long as they can, I think as fast as they can make them, they'll ship them out. But obviously, there is a bit of a bottleneck. I mean, you know, COVID and supply chains and all of this stuff. But yeah. Either way, I guess well done to Sony, as weird as that sounds, for a successful console launch and for making what I feel so far is a pretty solid piece of kit. And for anyone out there that's still hoping to get their hands on a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X before the end of the year, we keep our fingers crossed for you. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. And Chris, that goes for you as well. Hopefully there's some stock
first things
soon.
First, I need a job. Second things second.
Job, video games.
Yes, buddy, yes. I mean, I could sell a kidney, but that would probably go to pay off the mortgage. But yeah, it's just another example, Jamie, of how the scientists behind the simulation are fucking with us, right?
You're not wrong. The simulation of what if we created the worst year on record? How would humans react?
Yeah. And then how do we cap it off? Oh, I know. Let's create the most anticipated console in history and make sure that people can't get it.
Yeah. I mean, yes, that's what they've done. Kind of shitty.
Right. Anyway.
Do you know something else that's been selling fairly well, Chris, though? And I'm pretty sure because it exists digitally, there shouldn't be any supply issues.
It's my OnlyFans, onlyfans.com forward.
That's right. Sign up now, onlyfans.com/Hot Panic. It's just $4.99 for all the butthole shots.
It would be onlyfans.com/Mr. PP and the Boys.
Mr. PP and the Boys. So in that sense, you're kind of naming your OnlyFans after your actual. It's not named after you. You consider your cock and balls the main attraction.
I'm secondary. I mean, you know, give.
You're just kind of like a vague, blurry, out of figure sort of face in the background.
Can you imagine you do like the portrait mode on your cell phone, but it just blurs your body out, just fucking.
I'm just imagining like you spread in front of a mirror, and if you kind of zoom in, you can just see your face out of focus, like in the background, like looking at yourself, trying to check the angle. Like,
I mean, I know it's getting a bit of a running gag now about me starting a.
Sorry, what was that about gagging in OnlyFans?
I think if I had to do an OnlyFans, it would be like a comedic one. Me and my top off after I've eaten too much bread and all bloaty, and maybe just drinking some beer or something. You know.
I said we should do a calendar, like a firefighter style calendar. So maybe that's our version of it. We'll sell it one off instead of doing like an OnlyFans subscription thing, and
we could
see
pull
how that
the
goes.
Val Delphine and just release hardcore porn for $35 on Christmas Day or whatever it was.
Yes, exactly. Well, if it works for her, maybe it will work for us. Folks, ladies, gents, keep your eyes peeled. At this stage, we never know how low we're going to sink for money.
I think we'll be okay, Jamie. I mean, we've been promising fucking Jamie-shaped body pillows since ATG days.
Oh, my Lord.
We still haven't delivered on that one. So.
No, well, that's a logistical nightmare as well. So I'm going to defend us on that one. I don't even know where you begin to go around getting custom body pillows made, or how many of them would even get sold. Anyway,
China, or all roads go to China.
All roads go. Well, some roads go or come from Japan. That was that world's worst segue. Get used to it, folks. Look, going back to what we were talking about and games selling well and people making money and things out of Japan, one thing that has hit in the last week or two and is apparently doing very well is the latest entry in what I guess is kind of like a mini series now, the Hyrule Warriors game, and the latest one, which is Age of Calamity. Which,
hell yeah,
Chris, I know we've dunked on sort of kind of Musu games and Dynasty Warrior style games, but it seems that this might actually be a good one, better off for having embraced some of the more Breath of the Wild style elements, both in terms of its gameplay, but also its story, and people are responding in turn because this game has sold over 3 million copies in a week, which makes it, Chris, brace yourself, the most successful Warriors title.
Yeah.
Which this is no small task, no small feat.
This is mad. But I don't know if when they say most successful Warriors title, I don't know if that means like of the spin-off Warriors or if it includes Dynasty Warriors as well. Because Dynasty Warriors to me was always like that kind of like, that's the top of the Warriors pile, right? I couldn't find anything online to say what it was, but I would imagine it would be. I mean, 3 million sales in a week. Jamie, we know that like, fucking hell, good respected games, like not saying that this isn't a good or respected game, but take whatever that is away from it. You know, you speak about like the sales of, let's say, Devil May Cry 5 or whatever, and it's like it's this kind of ballpark, right? And this fucking weirdo offshoot game of an offshoot Musu title has sold 3 million copies in a week.
Yeah. And what's strange is that I've got another statistic.
on one fucking platform.
Honestly, it is mind-boggling in certain regards. And one extra statistic I've got for you here, talking about how it's a sequel to an offshoot. This has quadrupled sales of the Switch release of the first Hyrule Warriors game. So you've got the amount of people who played the first Hyrule Warriors when it came out on Switch, take that number in total, and quadruple it is the amount of people willing to play the sequel inside the first week. So as I kind of said earlier, there's clearly something about the way this game is tapping into the wider Breath of the Wild appeal that is striking a nerve with some people in a positive way. And I actually watched a video review on this, and for what it's worth, they did more than I thought they would in terms of tapping into the lore and legacy of Breath of the Wild and what that introduces to the Zelda franchise, but also saying, hey, here are these side characters in Breath of the Wild. Would you like to play as them? And here are the interesting things that we've thought up in terms of what their combat might look like, what some of their abilities might look like. It looks like they've gone harder on that stuff than they've maybe done in the past. So if that's what they're doing now with these Musu-style games, then maybe more power to them, and maybe this is them turning over a new leaf. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. I wonder how much the demo released on the Switch helped in terms of that, because I played the demo. I was like, yeah, this is fucking cool. Think about the Musu games, like the Warriors games, especially Dynasty Warriors. Like, it's easy to shit on these games, but you know what? They scratch a very particular itch, and they scratch it very, very well.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
I don't know how else to explain. Like, I remember PS2 era Dynasty Warriors. I think I mentioned this on the podcast before. I'd spent hours and hours at friends' house, like way into the night, just fucking dunking on hundreds of little fucking characters. Like, it's a fun, mindless, enjoyable time. I had Dynasty Warriors on my PSP as my first game on the PSP. Like, it's something to be said for these kinds of games.
Yeah. And if this is them kind of stepping back into the limelight and introducing that style of combat and that style of action to a wider audience, then maybe it opens the door for either more Warriors-style games in the future, or perhaps just more actual Warriors game, like a fully fledged Dynasty Warriors made for the next gen, which at this point, like, how many characters can you get on screen if you made a Dynasty Warriors game for PS5 and Series X? Fuck knows. Cool. But all I know is I'd press square, do one big thing, and I'd expect at least 10,000 people to jump up in the air at once.
But that's the itch that it scratches, right? As long as they don't go the route of the previous Dynasty Warriors one, where they're like, oh yeah, it's the fucking entire surface of mainland China. It's like, you don't need to do that. That's ridiculous.
Yes. In fact, I remember looking at reviews and watching some videos of that last Dynasty Warriors game, and it was an actual nightmare from what I saw.
Yeah. So, but hey, this might be a return to form. One thing that I was looking up, the PlayStation version of The Avengers, okay, the game that we like to dunk on every now and then. The PlayStation version of The Avengers, within its first week, sold 43,000 physical copies in Japan.
43,000.
Yeah, but that's physical copies. Fair, we don't know what the digital is, just from the article that I'm reading here.
Okay.
But like, you know, that kind of paints a picture.
Yes, it does. Not a very pretty one for the Avengers, but it does paint a picture of sorts.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I would be keen on getting Hyrule Warriors. It looks like a really good time, but I think I've laid out my path for gaming for the rest of the year. You know.
Well, that's the thing, because like you said, you've got Miles Morales, in the coming soon section of your gaming career, and then you want to do the kind of the cleanse before Cyberpunk, and I think
cleanse, and then it's fucking Cyberpunk until I die.
And like when you release one of the biggest and most anticipated games perhaps of all time by this stage, certainly in recent memory, in December of all months, I think a lot of people are going to block out most of their time into the new year for that game alone.
Yeah.
So I
would say if we were still running ATG, I would probably take time off for Cyberpunk.
I think we'd be fighting each other for time off. And you know what? You'd have probably got it, because I reckon I would have taken time off for the PlayStation 5 and conceded that someone else could take time off for Cyberpunk, because I think I'm lower down on the Richter scale for anticipation than you and Jonesy are for Cyberpunk for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's always better to temper your expectations in these things, Jamie. And I think you're doing a good job.
I mean, I'm not doing it on purpose. That's the only thing that worries me. So the PlayStation footage came out this week, right? They showed it what Cyberpunk looks like running on the base PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro and the PlayStation 5 in backwards compatibility mode without the patch that's going to come next year.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch all of that video. I watched the start of it, then started skipping through, then just didn't watch the rest. There's something about Cyberpunk in motion that I just don't care about. I'm watching it and I get bored.
So regardless of whether it's on PlayStation, you're saying like...
Doesn't matter.
It's not you can watch it because of how the PlayStation was running.
I did the exact same thing with the Xbox version. I've done that with most of the Night City Wires. There's something about Cyberpunk that hasn't clicked with me yet.
Interesting.
That's all I'm going to say.
I'd be very interested to see your actual thoughts once we get into it, you know?
I mean, that's going to rival... We managed to sort of keep our PlayStation 5 thoughts not to a minimum, but, to condense them into another podcast about other stuff last week. Cyberpunk's probably going to be one of those ones where, are we actually going to talk about this game and just this game for an hour?
Well, I think maybe we'd serve ourselves to do a patron-only Cyberpunk rant.
The only downside...
Much like our Last of Us Part 2 fucking 3.5 hour epic.
Well, that's the thing. Those were spoiler casts, and how long it is until we can do a Cyberpunk 2077 spoiler cast? Probably fucking months at this rate.
Cyberpunk's probably... I'll lay this out there right now. I doubt I will finish Cyberpunk, because I haven't finished Skyrim. Do you know what I mean? It's like you get into these open world games, you do like half the missions, and you just fucking go about doing your own business until eventually you just fall off it. That's
interesting, because a lot of people, I'm sure, can relate to that, but they probably still go in with a certain degree of optimism about their chances of finishing the new one. You're out of the gate saying now, you think you're looking forward to Cyberpunk, going to set aside gaming time for it, so to speak, and make sure you're not playing other stuff at the same time, but you don't think you're going to finish it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the funnily enough, the open world game that kind of caught me the most, there's two of them, which is Fallout 4 and Breath of the Wild. I haven't finished either of them. Fallout 4, I got to the very last mission and I just like, meh. I didn't want to make that final decision. I just slagged it off.
Yeah. What you did that with something else? Isn't that what you did with Breath of the Wild? You got close to the end and were like, I don't want this to end.
Kind of. On Breath of the Wild, I did all 4 of those fucking dungeon... the
mythical beasts or whatever they're called.
The beasts, yeah, the beasts. So I've done all 4 of the beasts, and then I just need to make it to Hyrule Castle and go for Ganon. It's not like a thing where it's going to be like, oh, I'll finish it in an hour. You know?
Right, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, I guess time will tell on that matter. And as we said earlier, we don't have too long to wait, just 2 weeks less by the time you're listening to this podcast. Everyone, stay tuned just in case we do have any Patreon exclusive content coming out for it. You never know. Do you know what another thing we don't know about yet, Chris?
Tell me.
The future of services such as Xbox Game Pass and what other platforms they might find themselves coming to. And when I say platform, Chris, I don't just mean video game consoles.
Fridges.
Yes, I'm talking about fridges. Would you play Conker's Bad Fur Day on a fridge?
Yes.
There you go. Conversation
because think
over.
about it. You're playing it, and then Conker's like, a beer, and you just open your fridge and you get a beer because you're right there.
You know what? The future has never been so clear to me as it has now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in Minority Report, and one of those weird chicks has just showed me what the future is, and the future is fridge gaming.
The precog.
A precog, exactly. Colin Farrell is chasing me because he's found out that I know too much about fridge gaming. This is just the world we live in. No,
and he got his hands on your wooden balls. So.
Oh well, Chris, fucking hell! We're gonna set. We in fact we've already set the record for references to testicles in a podcast.
Do you think that there will ever be a podcast that we record where we don't go sexual?
Probably not. If even the mere reference of cock or balls or anything like that, just the words are considered sexual, then no. Like
Fair.
someone will say one of those words at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
One of these days there'll be a podcast with just you and Jonesy on where I'll have to sit out for some reason, and that will be an interesting test. Like, I know you're gonna have it in you to bring it up, but like, will Jonesy kind of like shut the door on it?
Will he rise to the occasion?
I don't know. I think he's got it in him, but sometimes he doesn't let it come out on the podcast. He's a little bit shy.
I think Jonesy, it's very much dependent on his mood, isn't it?
That is also true.
You know, because he gets into his goofy moods. He gets into his kind of like introspective moods. He gets into his kind of conspiracy theory moods. So, you know, it depends on what he's bringing to the table on the day.
Which Jonesy you get for that podcast. Yeah. Anyway, going back to what we were saying before, I regret to inform people that the future of gaming does not live in the fridge.
Travesty.
Well, at least not yet anyway. What I was referring to when I was talking about Xbox Game Pass coming to other locations was actually about some comments that Xbox head Phil Spencer made recently, stating that the xCloud app could be seen on smart TVs, Chris, within 12 months.
Ooh,
so
as an
app. For anyone that doesn't know, xCloud is what Xbox are still naming their streaming service, if you will. Is essentially a service that lets you use Xbox's infrastructure and Microsoft's infrastructure to stream games, so far titles that have been seen on Xbox Game Pass, which is itself a huge library of games that can be played just by paying a small-ish subscription fee. What this would mean, theoretically, Chris, is that we would have an app on our TVs that if we launched, and assuming your internet connection was fast and stable enough, you'd be able to play a whole host of games straight from your TV, assuming all you would need at that point then would be a controller of some kind, which I hate to admit it means we're getting of really close to Jonesy's future, depictions, future ideas for where gaming might go.
Look, I don't think we ever kind of disputed it. Maybe where we talked about it was from an infrastructure point of view and a mainstream viability point of view. But it does seem like it's coming up. Phil Spencer said this is going to happen within the next 12 months, potentially. I mean, plans change. But yeah, just the idea of going into your smart TV and going, what am I going to do tonight? Okay, Netflix? No. Prime Video? No. Disney Plus? No. Oh, xCloud, yeah, cool. Like that's, like yes, okay, like running your Games Pass games and Xbox titles on xCloud has been a thing that we've kind of known about and theorized, and like yes, you maybe get a little dongle and attach it to your back of your thing, or maybe you get a controller where the service is attached to your controller and it's just transmitting to the TV. But for some reason, it never entered my mind that an actual, I mean, this is sounding kind of stupid and redundant, but it never entered my mind that a smart TV could just have an app that'll let you play games. Like that's mental. Yeah,
I guess it wasn't so much that it never entered my mind as much like I never really thought about how far they could take this stuff. I think I was always prepared for the eventuality where they only want the barrier to entry to be something as simple as a controller. And I think we've even talked about the possibility before that they put some of the technology almost in the controller that allows you to access something. But this would be a very interesting move. And this is Phil Spencer himself saying that it could happen within the next 12 months. So clearly Microsoft and the Xbox team are exploring these avenues. And I just think that would be very interesting once you start applying some of Xbox's future plans in terms of their software launches and software lineups to this kind of eventuality. We're potentially talking about a world in which Halo Infinite comes out and people's first reaction to it isn't to say, damn, I don't have an Xbox Series S or a Series X, but rather, oh, let me load up the xCloud app on my smart TV and just play this video game.
Yeah, it's kind of mad. Like, on the one hand, it's the culmination of their Games Pass strategy on like any device, right? But on the other hand, it goes further to kind of make their actual physical consoles more and more of a head scratcher.
Right. In a way that, like, you trust them, and maybe it's the direction they feel they've got to go because Sony, not only do they have the lead, but they're also doubling down on, quote unquote, the idea of generations. They're doubling down on needing a PlayStation 5, on PlayStation 5 exclusives, on $70 games. For Xbox to go in the other direction and offer that alternative perhaps makes more sense than ever before, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think Xbox looks at it and says, you know what, from a hardware perspective, we are never going to beat Sony because they just have never able to. So they're saying, okay, well, how do we get out of the hardware business? We're still not advanced enough to just not offer hardware, but why don't we offer hardware as a last generation while we focus on setting up hardwareless consoles? Yeah. It's a very interesting kind of thing to me. I like shit like this.
No, and we've talked about it a lot before, and Jonesy and I and you as well, Chris, have all argued about it to no end. But we're at the beginning of a generation that, ignoring half-step consoles, will last 7 years. And no one knows where we'll be in 7 years in terms of the demographic of gamers, what they want, what they expect, how much things cost, what the barriers to entry are. And even things like Wi-Fi speeds and 5G speeds and availability, no one knows where they're going to be in 7 years and how advanced that stuff might be. And maybe 7 years is all it takes for the idea of buying a $500 console and $70 games to seem a little bit almost prehistoric by that point, if other services manage to make it look so.
Well, so here's a counterpoint, okay? Because as you said, we've had arguments with Jonesy about this because Jonesy's like, no, it's happening.
Jonesy thinks this is the future, yeah.
And it is the future, but I think we argue about when the future will be now. But here's an example, okay? I've been living in my house for call it 6 years now.
Congratulations.
Okay? Thank you. Yeah, homeowner, soon to be homeless if I can't make those payments.
No, don't say that.
No, this is the truth. I'll figure something out.
Euro millions.
But my point is this, okay? Fiber has been around since then. And when I got my broadband set up for when we moved into the house, I was like, cool, gonna get the fastest fiber I can get. The fastest fiber I could get was 35 megabits per second, which is not the fastest, okay? No. And if I tell you that to this day, 6 years later, the fastest fiber I can get in this area through this particular provider is 35 megabits per second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there is commercial availability of like 100, 200 megabit per second lines out there in the UK. Mm-hmm. And maybe if I change the supplier, it will be a different situation. But my supplier is telling me that, hey, to your property from the exchange, 35 megabits per second is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And even doesn't matter how much money you want to throw at us being the vendor, you're not going to get any faster than that. So, at that point, you think to yourself, yeah, that's enough to kind of stream and all that stuff. But how, it's almost like the technology of the future comes before the reality of the future.
Yeah. And it's funny, like, we've had services like this in the past that have been and gone for that exact reason. Services like OnLive, which I know is a bit of a meme at this point, but like, we've had these things come along at times where we weren't ready for them. this feels like the closest we've ever been to being ready for it, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah. You know what always interests me, or not interests me, like blows my mind? Do you remember the very first fucking E3 reveal of the Xbox One and all of the way that they were kind of conceptualizing what the Xbox One is and how it would work in your house?
I mean, you got to remember at the time that the Xbox One was announced, I was a 360 owner and proud. So I remember tuning into those and not even paying attention to the PlayStation 4 related stuff because I didn't think it mattered to me. I was all Xbox One.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But it blows my mind just how forward-looking that Xbox team at that time were. Like if you think about it, they were like, cool, a console that you don't need discs for, and it's an always online experience, and all of your entertainment gets piped through this Xbox console and all that. Like, that's all very future forward-thinking stuff.
Yeah.
But so the future technology was there, but the reality wasn't.
Yeah.
And there was big kickback, and people were like, this is not where we are at as consumers or what we want or how we want to operate like this. So they changed it.
No, but there was also the element of they offered a lot of potentially intriguing ideas.
Yeah.
That, like you said, in some cases people weren't ready for.
Yeah.
But they seemed to be offering them at the time, it felt like, at the expense of the gaming experiences. Well, I think what people really want is they almost want the two to go hand in hand. And I think that's what Xbox is getting closer to now, where they're saying, hey, we are making a lot of changes. We're going service first in a lot of cases. We're offering a lot of alternatives. And we're, as you kind of said, getting closer in a roundabout way to what that original envisionment for the Xbox One was. But we're still doing it with gaming in mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Don Matrick era kind of lost touch on. When, like, it seems crazy now, but, like, imagine an E3 showcase where they spent any amount of time showing how you watch and record TV on a console. Like, by 2020 standards, that sounds crazy. Partly because we're talking about it's an E3 showcase and they kind of don't exist anymore. But that was where they were.
Don Matrick was almost kind of going for more of the like leisure gaming market and like, hey, you know, this thing, it could control your cable and your fucking, you know,
right,
all of that stuff. And it's I
think they thought that they thought that gamers were kind of already in, and that their job was to make the Xbox One appeal to every household in the world, right?
Yeah.
This is the center of the living room. Every house has a living room. Every house has an Xbox One. What they underestimated was just how much gamers cared about, funnily enough, games, and how gamers were still the primary demographic for those consoles. You know, so no random bloke is going to go down to the Best Buy and buy an Xbox One because it's going to replace his Blu-ray player, or it's going to replace his, you know, his satellite or his cable TV box. That just didn't happen, and it's still not happening. Gamers are the people buying consoles primarily, still to this day.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
All I'm saying is I would fucking love an xCloud app because I'm already paying for Games Pass, and
the more ways you get access to that stuff, the better. And when the xCloud stuff on iOS didn't work out, I was kind of bummed out because they did have an early version of it that was available through iOS's sort of test application, their dev stuff, that I actually had access to. I remember bringing it up to you guys, and you guys didn't care as much as I wanted you to.
I think our exact words were, "Not now, Jamie. Go fuck yourself."
It was close to that, but I played Halo, the Master Chief Collection, on my iPhone, and at the time I thought that was cool. This is kind of an extension of that. And I will say, I guess while we're on the topic, I hope they sort out there whatever the iOS shit is. I don't know what they have to do to get it working, but it would really suck if being an iPhone user means I don't get to play xCloud stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think Phil Spencer's quite a determined dude to get the shit that he wants done. So
yeah, and a lot of people have iPhones.
Yeah. I think it's possible. You just got to throw enough money at the problem and it goes away, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Chris, can I be honest with you? And I feel like we know the folks at home well enough now that I can just say stuff like this fairly openly.
Yes.
I think whenever we record these podcasts before I've had a I was going to say a meal, any food at all. By the end of them, I feel weird. And it happened last week, and it's happening this week as well. I feel weird. I get it.
A bit of a unsettlement.
It's kind of an unsettlement, but it's almost like a lightheadedness without being lightheaded.
I get that as well, and I reckon it's because of these bad boys.
I wonder if it's a sugar-related thing, or like a caffeine or a taurine or some kind of imbalance.
Yeah, or inositol and B vitamins.
Maybe. Like, we're still here, we're still present, we're still talking and stringing together somewhat coherent sentences.
Yeah, you just get a bit shaky, and you just get a bit like, all right, maybe it's time to kind of like, pull the plug on, or not pull the plug, but, just do the salutes.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it is approaching that time, but I almost wanted to throw it out there in case anyone thought that perhaps from the Hyrule Warriors segment onwards that I seemed like I was on a different planet. It's because I feel like I'm fucking on a different planet right now, dude. Like, I don't feel right. I've got a bag of hula hoops back there, and I've wanted to bust them open for a good half an hour plus now.
Wow. Hula hoops McCulloch, yeah?
Why'd you have to throw my government name? What is this shit?
Your government name.
Hold on. My government name.
What do you mean your government name?
You know what I mean by my government name. I'm a hip hop artist. I'm trying to, get a reputation for being cool and underground.
Wow. Okay.
Just throwing my government name out there willy nilly.
All right. Well, Jamie,
I won't stand for it.
I will tell you this much though. Okay.
Yeah.
We've pretty much hit the 2-hour mark. So
that's all I was hoping for.
Fucking, how does it always fucking happen? I swear to God, one day it's gonna be like less than an hour, and I'm gonna be if I'm hosting, I'm gonna be so fucking brutal about it.
See,
I'm gonna be like, even if we talk about one fucking news item and then just cut you guys off, then it's gonna happen one day.
You say that like it's something you want to happen. I'm gonna put my foot down and say I don't want a 1-hour podcast. I don't want to record a 1-hour podcast. I don't want to give people a 1-hour podcast. That sounds rubbish. I don't want to be a part of that, Chris. That's not what we stand for. We stand for quantity over quality. We give people too much. This is true. And it's all rubbish. It's like the opposite of what you're meant to do.
It's kind of frustrating in a way, isn't it? Because the people that kind of come back week after week, they know what to expect. But what I would really love is just kind of like, if we had a survey system for like new listeners and viewers where they're like, cool, this is, here's some bullet points of what I actually think. I mean, yes, technically the comment section is down there for people to let us know.
Yeah.
But the people that comment in that comment section are the regulars for the most part.
It's true.
But
it's true.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall and see someone experiencing the SuperShow and giving it like a proper shot, not just like, oh, let's listen to these guys. Oh, they haven't spoken about gaming in the first 2 minutes. So let me switch off. More a case of like, who is the person that's like giving us a good shot, and then what do they think?
Yeah, I guess that would be an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get that first-hand account. Maybe you could probably count on one hand or two the amount of people who actually come to a podcast fresh for the first time every week, but. And if you are one of those people who've made it this far, if this is somehow, by some miracle, your first podcast and you made it this far and you don't hate us yet, then please do let us know. Reach out, maybe in the YouTube comments, maybe on Twitter at SuperShowPod, or each of our own individual Twitter handles, which you're just going to have to find yourself, because I'm not, I don't know.
Guess what, Jamie? They are on the screen on the YouTube version.
Fucking there you go. All you have to do is read it and type it back out, and I apologize that you can't copy and paste that shit, but it's not too much to ask, is it? I reckon we're going to get precisely 0 comments for people who fit that bill.
Yeah, we'll get comments, but they'll be all the usuals. Yes. Which, hey, we love you, but,
We do love you. We love you for being the usuals. We love you for watching week in, week out, especially this week. We love you for liking, for commenting, for all the lovely stuff you do. But hey, as I just said, if on the off chance that you are completely new, not only let us know, but be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, all that good stuff, because it does help us out hugely. And of course, as I've already mentioned, you can support us by going one step further, should you wish, by heading to patreon.com/SuperShow and showing us a little bit of love with money. Because
who doesn't love money?
Who doesn't love money? It makes the fucking world go round, baby. $2 tier, you get Discord access. If you're in the Discord, you're also in the Spotify playlist. You're also on the Minecraft realm, all that good stuff. $5 tier, bonus content. You know the drill.
If someone knows the second richest man in the world, Elon Musk, maybe just tell him to swing us some of that Tesla money.
The day we get a fucking billionaire patron is the day I can finally put my feet up and focus on living the good life. I mean...
Yeah. Can you guys just imagine the type of shit that we could get up to if we didn't have to worry about literally anything?
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think
Chaos.
about it. It would either go one of two ways. Either we'd get like the world's worst ideas and everything would go mental and bad, or we'd just get really fucking lazy. I can't guarantee that the latter wouldn't happen.
Why not both?
I guess so. Why not both?
Oh.
Crazy off the wall ideas whenever we do get them, but lazy like 95% of the time.
Hell yeah.
Okay, well, if you are a billionaire, hey, let us know by joining the Patreon. We'll make a new tier just for you, and you can have, at this stage, pretty much whatever you want. But for everyone else, we thank you all so much for engaging with us in whichever way you do that, watching, listening, liking, subscribing, commenting. Thank you.
Code word, Jamie. We need a code word.
We need a code word. What about just Mr. PP and the boys?
I like it.
And if they've been listening to this podcast thoroughly,
Mr. PP and the boys like it as well. So
there you go. But here's the real test. And I'm not going to remind them, are they going to spell it the right way? Because Chris has clarified the right way of spelling Mr. PP and the boys. And if you get it wrong, all three of them, or kind of four if you include Chris, will be disappointed. No pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure. But this is a make or break code word. We might have to start banning people. I don't even know if you could do that on YouTube, but we'll fucking figure it out. Okay?
Yeah.
We're gonna come for you, motherfuckers.
Here we go.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Last order of business.
Yeah.
As you do the sign off.
I mean, I feel like I've already. Whoa! God, if ever there were a reason to watch the YouTube version of this podcast, it's right there, staring at you.
Do you guys ever think that like my headphones are too big for my head?
Yeah, kind of. But then whose aren't? Like, I've got a big head, and even these look kind of silly when I do that.
Yeah.
Could bring this bad boy down. Now I'm gamer mode.
There we go. Hell yeah.
Thank you for watching and or listening to the Gamers podcast. We've been the gamers. You've been gaming. So let's game on together. Gamers. Game on. Game gamers. Game you later. Gamers.
Maybe we should just cut it there.
We could, but what if it's game o'clock with us, the gamers. The gamers. Welcome gamers. We are also gamers. We're here to talk about the games. See you later. Games.
Game out. Game.
Game.
It's fair game, Jamie.
Game on.